It's the event we've all been waiting for, Steve. The Harbaugh Bowl. Get your khakis out. It's Chargers. It's Ravens. Get ready. Me. And I love that we have this topic because our show specifically, not myself, but you, have direct connections through your time in the National Football League that you have seen each of these Harbaughs in person, in the flesh, interacted with them.
That's a possibility that I've our path has crossed once or twice, but
Okay.
It's going to be a good game, man. They know each other very well, very competitive. I think one wears khakis, the other wears dungarees. This is going to be a really good football game because you could tell by both of these teams they're built according to the personality of both of these teams. They're very old school. Obviously, Baltimore has a little bit more of the new school with Lamar Jackson, but then they still have that element of running the football and having explosive plays that you can see with the Los Angeles Chargers. They have the same thing. Justin Herbert is getting healthier, so he looks more explosive. And then you see Lad McConkey, a.k.a. Steve Smith Sr. as well. They're just doing a really good job. I'm excited about this football game because you know that these coaches are going to complement each other. However, behind closed doors, allegedly, they want to win the football game against each other because they have the same philosophy. They have the same thinking process because they have the same parents, meaning Jack Harbaugh. They look to destroy their opponent. They don't want to leave any stone unturned. Imagine something on special teams, some kind of trick play, some kind of trick play on offense, some kind of play on defense. Do not fall asleep on this game because you can wake up and something dramatic can happen and you missed it just like that.
What I'm looking at with this game is if the Chargers would have chargered last Sunday, which is what? Blown that lead, lost it in the last couple of minutes. What would our perception of this game be? I think it would be drastically different because what we're seeing is Harbaugh comes in there and Jim shows everyone that with him, the Chargers are not going to charger. They didn't blow the lead. They found a way to still win the game in the end, even though the second half didn't go obviously the way they wanted to. And Joe Burrow's a dangerous man. Him and Jamar Chase and company, they can put some points on the board. So let's give them some credit.
Yes.
But what we did see is we saw a cultural change with the Chargers. It has been clear as day. I've been hearing it since training camp. Everybody has bought in. And it is the Jim Harbaugh way with a lot of positive reinforcement, changing that culture that we will win. We are tough. We are physical. What'd they do at the top of the draft? They were like, hey, guess what? We don't need Mike Williams. We don't need Keenan Allen. We have Quentin Johnston and we have they didn't have Lad McConkey yet, but we're going to go with some younger receivers. They go, oh, they'll probably pick a receiver with the 5th overall pick. Look at all the receivers at the top of this draft. What did Harbaugh do, Steve? He picks Joe Alt, a massive human being, on that offensive line with the 5th pick. They build in the trenches, they're physical, and I think you saw the cultural change already in the identity that the Chargers have because they didn't charger in that last game. So now they're ascending, what we've seen really since that bye week, a healthier Justin Herbert. We've seen him use his legs more because the ankle is healthy. There's some rumblings around the league that there is a thought second half of the year might be too late, but he should maybe put himself as a dark horse MVP type of player if this continues through the second half of the season. That's the expectation that some people around the league have now that he's healthy and this offense is starting to click with these young receivers. But I mentioned him using his legs, Steve.
Does he add himself as a dark horse in the race with passing yardage, or is it just with wins?
I think it's all the above. He's a dark horse with all of those things. I think it's wins. I think some of those throws, Steve, on Sunday night, the windows were not very big. Those balls down the seam were really, really good balls. And so I just think it's going to be a collection of everything. And it's very similar to what we've seen in Buffalo, where some of the weight has been taken off of Josh Allen's shoulders. Hero ball is not from quarter one to the final whistle. That's the way it's been for Justin Herbert over the years. And I think you've seen Harbaugh take a little bit off, and they're expecting, just like with Josh Allen, better play as a whole. But I mentioned him using his legs, and we know that Lamar uses his legs. You know it's an added element for offenses when the quarterback is able to move and create on their own. We saw the Steelers do a very good job. Obviously, Jesse Minter and company would probably be looking at what happened with Pittsburgh's defense against Lamar Jackson and what they'd like to do up front as a Chargers defense that's criminally underrated for some reason. Nobody's paying attention to them. What do you think about what we're going to see from both of these quarterbacks and what the issues that they present defenses with the way that they both can move. Here's the deal, people. All season long, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Only on Underdog. Pick higher or lower on your favorite player, and you can join the millions of fans winning millions this season. Sign up today using promo code UD89, and you'll get a free pick as part of your first cash entry, plus $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, promo code UD89 to cash in on every touchdown this season, only on Underdog.
I do believe that a mobile quarterback does enhance the offense when it's done correctly. When you look at Lamar Jackson last week, I thought Lamar Jackson probably should have took off a few times instead of kind of scrambling around, still trying to get the ball down the field. There's been a few batted balls down. There were some times where there was coverage sacks because he was trying to scramble around and have some off-schedule throws. And I believe that Pittsburgh had just had a very good game plan and understanding. Let's make Lamar beat us with his legs, not with his arm. But what was crazy is he didn't take a lot of opportunities to take off running that you would normally see out of Lamar in the past. Justin Herbert has been doing that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the quarterbacks take off. Do they utilize their legs, or do they somehow decide this is the game that I'm going to be self-conscious and I don't want to use my legs. I want to sit in the pocket and pick the defense apart. I'm not sure which guy is, but we'll find out very quickly. And then the question is really going to be, how does each defense, are they going to sit back in coverage? Are they going to blitz? Are they going to try to overload? They're going to run a lot of different games. You've seen in the past, and I think they haven't done it as much. And I remember last year under Mike McDaniels, what made him make this defense really good is they had Millette coming in on a blitz a lot. They always had the ability to create a free rusher. You're seeing that now with the Los Angeles Chargers, the ability to create a free rusher. You haven't seen that as much with Orr being defensive coordinator, and that used to be Kyle, but now you see he's more back in the secondary. So I just think they're trying to figure out their identity, and I think this is the game where for Baltimore and the Chargers, whoever makes the least amount of mistakes but who's also aggressive and disciplined is gonna end up coming out with the win, because we know with J.K. Dobbs, he wants to show and prove that he was thrown out with the baby in the bathwater. And then you already know with the loss for the Baltimore Ravens against Pittsburgh Steelers, they want to show that they can play with the big dogs. So they've already lost now to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they lost at the beginning of the year with a foot away to the Kansas City Chiefs.
A toe.
And then with the Buffalo Bills opening up that opportunity by beating the Chiefs, now all of a sudden things get really interesting. And I believe the Chargers are way down there below, but if they could move up, then those teams that start to move down, they could close the gap a little bit unexpectedly in a way that people are not seeing it in Jim Harbaugh's first year.
I think you're exactly right. And I don't think people are understanding how good this Chargers team is becoming right now. And I think this is maybe the game that...
With the injuries.
With
the injuries, too.
And maybe this is the game, you're right, Steve, that kind of, if they come away with a win here, it wakes up people nationally going, oh, like this is happening in year one for Jim Harbaugh. We knew he was going to build something, but it's happening pretty quickly because the defensive line is better. And it's more aggressive than it was. And I'm looking at that against Derrick Henry and against Lamar Jackson. What stands out to me the most is Joey Bosa played 67% of the snaps in their past game against Cincinnati. He's coming off that injury. The 3 games prior, it was 24%, 27%, 35%. If he can stay on the field at that number of snaps against this Ravens offense, I think that's extremely important. And the other part, that they don't give up explosive plays. Like the Chargers don't give up explosive plays.
They got 5th round corners out there, and the other part, you're talking about Bosa. Man, I want to look at that Ronnie Stanley and Bosa matchup. That's going to be a great matchup because Ronnie Stanley is not giving up a lot of sacks. I think he's maybe giving up 1 or 2 all year. But that's great. And
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting to see how those little small battles go in those matchups.
Big time. And then, you know the way Derwin James plays in the middle of that defense and as physical as he
Headhunter.
is for the Chargers and the way that they move him around as a chess piece. I don't know how many positions he plays, Steve. 5, 6, who knows?
A lot.
He lines up everywhere, and they have other guys that do that. So that's going to be the chess match between Jesse Minter and Lamar Jackson of trying to make guys look like they're playing one position and they move them around to look like then they end up playing a different one. I think this is an extremely important game in determining what happens moving forward with each of these teams, because one is surging and the other one was and playing with the best offense in football, and then this past week made all of us go, You know what I mean? Just a little bit
Make
of
you go,
things that make you go, This is going to be a great one. It's going to be outstanding.